for a second, I look good, even if I didn't sound good. Okay. Okay. So what I was just saying is, I'm probably going to stick out a little bit like a sore thumb as I change tact here, and I want to cover what I hope won't sound like a sales pitch to hire guys like us, but it might do, and I'll apologise in advance for that. But I'd like to cover some soft skills that certain people from CDMOs bring to the equation when they move across the telephone or across town to come and work at innovator companies. And what soft skills am I talking about? Well, it can be going out drinking and playing golf. They're good soft skills to have as well. But I'm talking about skills like relationship building, conflict resolution, leadership skills, and the ability to multitask on various levels. So I just want to go a few through them, tell you a little bit why they might be important to have in your group. And I'm going to preface that by saying that it's not just CDMOs that have guys that have good soft skills. They're all over. It's just that when you have the skills are used a lot more in CDMOs, especially the ones I just mentioned. They're interacting with different personalities, different companies all the time, and they get the chance to put these soft skills to use more often. So you might say, well, I don't really need to form good relationships with vendors. And I would say that's not really true. You know, speaking from years on the other side of the fence, I've built a lot of great relationships with various innovator companies over the years, and I've known people that I don't want to ever work with again. And you know, there's people that I would crawl across broken glass to help, and there's some clients that I would tie to the back of a horse and drag through a field of broken glass if they wanted to do business with me. And for me, I'd like to be of the former, not just because I don't want to be dragged through a field of broken glass, but because if you have a good relationship with your suppliers, your vendors, they go above and beyond for you. Though, and speaking from experience on both sides, I've learned to treat people with respect at all times and get the most out of them and leverage their skills and what they are bringing to the table as well. I think that's quite important. And as relationships go, the guys you hire from CDMOs often come with a huge network of contacts, not just within other CDMOs, but within other areas, other fields as well. And that's always useful to have around. I think everybody has been forced to deal with conflict at one time or other in their careers. And there's different types of conflict, of course. There's internal conflict with the guys in your own organization as you jockey for position and try and keep yourself off the critical path. We all know that CMC is always on the critical path, and we have to live with that. But when you're at a CDMO, you're dealing with conflicts on a daily basis, and those internal conflicts are winning resources for your clients that you're working with. Conflict over when we put resources in place, conflicts over when we're going to bill for money, as we just heard, as we need money to do everything. And these conflicts are often resolved through negotiation. So you find that a lot of guys at coming in from CDMOs are really good at negotiating internally, but that also translates to external as you try and negotiate with your CDMOs for better deals, better timelines. I find myself going through that right now, where I'm trying to get better timelines off of some of my CMC programs at my current position. And those skills have helped a lot. And it helps that you also know the internal workings of a CDMO as well, and what they really want. And sometimes it doesn't gel with what you really need, but if you can come to a common ground, that really helps. So I think conflict resolution is something that ex-CDMO guys can be very good at, especially those that have been successful in CDMOs. Leadership skills is something that you often see in job descriptions as well, and when people bring various leadership skills to the table too. I would propose that because of the business setup for many CDMOs, for a few people, there are the opportunity to develop some really great leadership skills. And CDMOs overhead has to be as minimal as possible because they're in it to make money at the end of the day. If they're not making money, they can't operate, and they can't serve you. They can't serve the innovator companies well. And so you often find certain folks at CDMOs have a large group of people reporting to them, and that's, sometimes that some people like to boast about that, but others take that experience for what it is, and it's valuable experience in managing others, managing different types of people, and so CDMO leaders, I find, generally are used to leading larger groups of individuals. Their skills at relationship building, at managing others, are actually very good, and it's something they should always look for as well in your hiring along those lines. Certainly, as far as leaders and CDMOs, it really is a case of survival of the fittest, and for me, maybe survival of the fattest as well. But yeah, usually find the cream rises to the top in CDMOs, and those are the guys that have a lot of experience that can really help you out in your programs. And probably one of the most important ones is the ability to multitask. I think as the guys going behind me and the guys that will come and were in front of me too know that we like to think as innovator companies that we're the only ones with a project at the CDMO partner, but that's very rarely the case. And they're often managing multiple projects, multiple clients at the same time, and there's a lot going on. And so sometimes you're not getting full attention. And if you are getting full attention, you've probably got yourself a really good project manager there. But yeah, so multitasking in a CDMO is a little bit different from multitasking in an innovator company. And I've spoken to at least one of the panelists about some of the stories we'd hear when we were back in our old days in the CDMO side. Everybody was really busy, crazy busy all the time, never had time to give us information, never had time for this or that. And as we moved over, we were talking among ourselves about, wow, it's not as bad as we thought it was. On the innovator side of things, and if looking back now, the level of absolute terror and absolute thrill ride of working in a CDMO serves us very well as we've moved into the innovator space. And I think all of these soft skills are invaluable as we go forward, especially to early phase companies who are very science orientated and are looking for people to come in and actually manage timelines, manage budgets. I think the guys that you're talking to in this panel have all those skills and could be very useful, and happily answer any questions in this, but it's been a real pleasure talking to you. And I'll turn it over to the next panelist.
Hey, Patty, let me just jump in here for 1 second and say, many years ago, I may have brought Charlie some of those customers that he wanted to drag through the glass, as he said. But I'll assure everyone, he never did that, and he took it out on me, the business development guy who brought him the customer. But he was always number one with the customer. So I thought I'd just interject that.
Too kind, Louis. Too kind.